Alright, welcome everybody. We're going to be playing Legacy Sneak and Breach one more time. Alright. So we got 2 Blood Moons, we got a Chalice, we got Seething Song, at least we got 1 red mana. So I'm down for this. This isn't a super strong hand because we don't have the the threat and the enabler right off the bat. But we do have Blood Moon, and we do have a turn 1 Chalice, potentially. Looks like they have at least Thoughtseize or something like that. Oh, Deathrite. Okay. This is where we just play Ancient Tomb, take 2 damage, and hope they don't have Force or Daze. Okay, so they had Force of Will. Force of Will makes them exile a card and pay a life, so they actually... I kind of 2-for-1 them there, technically, but it's a 2-for-1 they're more than willing to take. Because A, they're going to be drawing more cards, B, they're going to be ahead on the board, and C, I may not get what I need. And possible D, they probably have... some other type of counterspell. So Bitter Blossom is pretty rare to play in Legacy. You don't see that very often. That's going to be pretty good. That's going to be very good against us. So I'm just going to do my best here and try to slam this Blood Moon and make it so they can't play but so many things. So they got the Bitter Blossom out before I could actually, get this Blood Moon out. Because it doesn't quite shut them down. But boy, if I could get that out before they got Bitter Blossom, I'd be doing well. Otherwise, I'm pretty far ahead. Or, I mean, pretty far behind, I'm sorry. Well, seeing as how it'll be just a mountain, doesn't really matter too much. I'm just going to play a backup Blood Moon in case they have some kind of removal. So we got an Emrakul. This is pretty big. That's also another problem for us, and another reason why they played Bitter Blossom being a problem for us. Once we get Emrakul out, they'll just have 6 permanents, maybe even 6 fairies by the time we get Emrakul out. And they can just, lose all their fairy tokens happily and be fine. So that's a pretty big problem for us. They got 1 card left in their hand. They're attacking with everything, down to 11. 3 Seething Songs. I mean, that's 15 mana all by itself. But you would have to have, all of the mana to pay for them. So you'd have to have 9 mana to pay for it and get the 15 and cast the Emrakul. Don't think I can quite cast it. So going down to, I think, like 5? 7. Oh, okay. I did the math completely wrong there. Yep, so Chalice is not going to help us here. That's disappointing. Okay. So game 1 we lose a lot of times to these kind of control decks with Force of Will. Not saying we win game 2 a lot of times either, but after sideboard, I believe that we have a little bit better of a chance. Since they do have Bitter Blossom, we're just going to use Fiery Confluence. It'll be really good if we do get that Emrakul out that we were talking about, or I was talking about. So, Blood Sun can come out. And I think the Chandra can come out. So, I may not play the Red Elemental Blasts. I instinctively brought them in. Usually I bring them in if I'm seeing True Name Nemesis or something like that I can counter, or Miracles with counterbalance, something like that. Red Elemental Blast is good against Force, and definitely good against anything blue. But when I'm sideboarding this many cards in, you know, it makes me kind of hesitate a little bit. And I think just 2 Confluences will be fine. I'll cut a Trinisphere and a Confluence, and now we're back down to the 60. And this way we haven't really sideboarded too many cards. I think we only got 6 cards out. Yeah. So this is a considerably better hand. So next turn, hopefully we can get a sneak attack out. A lot of times they have Deathrite. They did it last game. This time they have Ponder. So next turn we're going to play Ancient Tomb and Lotus Petal. We'll have 4 mana. Potentially 5 with the Simian Spirit Guide. Considering we might be playing around Daze, I mean, obviously we can't do anything about Force right now. I think the best idea here is maybe just wait. Let's see. We can go for turn 2 sneak attack here. Because, actually, yeah. Because we can play this land and then next turn we'll have 4 anyway. And maybe we can get another soul land later. So, okay, we'll get a little saucy here. I mean, it's very possible they have not sneak attack. That I have sneak attack. That they have Force of Will or Daze, but Daze I can deal with. Force of Will is a problem. So Daze I'm going to be able to pay for. Looks like they might have Force of Will, maybe not. They have Force of Will. Okay. So now I know that they have at least an island in their hand because they had to return that island to their hand in order to play the Daze. That was interesting. They definitely didn't want sneak attack on the board. So we know that they still have that island in their hand. Or whatever it was. I guess an underground sea that they had. I can't remember what it was. Let's see. Oh, I don't know. It's not worth going back like that. So here we're just gonna go. I'm gonna try and hard cast Inferno Titan. And if they have another Force, then they're just really good at having counter spells. Okay, so we'll split 2 and 1. We'll destroy Deathrite Shaman. Do 1 damage to them. Turn 3, casting Inferno Titan is really strong against this deck. I was really hoping I didn't have to use Through the Breach, because then I would lose Inferno Titan. Now, granted, I can lose it easily to any kind of spell or Diabolic Edict or anything like that. So, but I've gotten everything I need out of my hand. You know, Through the Breach is not really necessary right now. Gurmag Anglers, that's a dude. Okay, so we'll play Blood Moon. This kind of shuts them down a little bit, not really though. Inferno Titan is large and in charge. he can beat down that fish. So we're just gonna do 3 damage to them. And maybe they'll pump it somehow. I'm not really sure if they... I doubt Legacy would do anything like that. Darn, maybe I could have pumped him. But this way I can probably maybe tease a counterspell. Tease having Red Elemental Blast or something in my hand. Ratchet Bomb. Yuck. Okay. That's not as good as they want it to be right now, at least. They have 3 mountains. I have a Lotus Petal. They are forced to block here. Unless they have some kind of spell. Phew. I bet that was a fight you could probably write a movie about. Inferno Titan versus Gurmag Angler. Ugh. Okay, so... Lightning Bolt, the Inferno Titan happens. That hurts. Get him down to 4 and can't quite finish it. Oh well. Okay. So they got 4 mountains out. They have 1 card left in their hand. I have Sneak Attack. I don't have any threats in hand. But, you know, really, if we just draw any threat, we'll be fine. It's going to take them at least 2 more turns to get Ratchet Bomb up to something they want to destroy. They might want to get it to 3 and destroy Blood Moon, so I think that'll take them 2 more turns. Yeah, they have to put 1 more counter on it, and then they can use it. So next turn they can use it, I guess. Yeah. Well, we're not getting threats. We're just continuing to get prison pieces here. Pieces of the prison. Chalice is pretty good here. They might actually destroy Ratchet Bomb here. Okay, no. So they might... Okay, let's see. I'm interested to see what they prioritize here. Sneak Attack or Blood Moon. Because Blood Moon is shutting them down. They can't play anything. But they also might be, you know, flooding out on lands and have 2 lands in their hand in addition to what they just played. So that's a lucky Inferno Titan right there, you know, if I've ever seen one. Three damage to them. And that's the end of that one. So we're 1-1. Going to game 3. So we got the Blood Moons are doing really good work here. Through the Breach, Sneak Attack's fine. I don't really see anything to put in. I'd like to stuff that 3rd Trinisphere in here somehow, but I don't want to take out any threats. Don't want to take out any enablers. Don't want to take any sideboard cards out. Don't want to take any mana out. Don't want to take the Blood Moons out, obviously. And Trinisphere is, pretty similar to Chalice, so I think it's really just make do. This is a very enticing hand to take. I mean, the theory here is that mountains are the most copies of a card of any single card that we have in this deck. So if we draw a mountain or a Simian Spirit Guide, or a Lotus Petal, hopefully, if they have force, it's kind of a glass cannon here. So we're going to go for it. Got to have a little faith here. Got to have a little faith. If you don't have faith in your deck, why are you playing it? So we're going to do a little organizing here. Oh, that's more expensive, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Okay. That's a difficult ponder. They did not shuffle their deck. Well, we got the Ancient Tomb. Haven't seen a Wasteland yet from them, so I doubt they have it. They might have it. They might have just one. This is a deck that can actually handle it. If I don't draw red mana for like another turn or two, you know, it's fine, because this deck actually moves pretty slowly too sometimes. And okay, so they didn't miss a land drop. They got a Delver, so they'll be moving considerably faster than they have in the past in the past 2 games. So we got both Emrakuls in our hand. We're just going to go ahead and discard one of them. It'll go back into our deck. Maybe I should have discarded Through the Breach. That probably would have been a better one to do, because, you know, I have 2 sneak attacks. So Cabal Therapy comes out. It's always a rough card. Yep. So Cabal Therapy, he just named Sneak Attack. Took 2 of my cards out of my hand. 2 of the best ones that I have. That's a rough one. Yeah, this is a bane of my deck's existence. They get to name a card, look at the hand, and then I discard all the cards of that name. Then they can just sacrifice some inconsequential creature, like say a fairy token off of Bitter Blossom. And go for it. So they got 4 cards in their hand. I'm going to play Lotus Petal and see what happens. I mean, they already know what we have. So we're not doing anything that they don't know is coming. Brainstorming. Here's the original art right here. That's what I was talking about earlier. So they drew the Force of Will. They knew it was coming. It's okay. Sometimes they just want it more than you do. I mean, it's just what it is. And I mean, this is just a, you know, really good mana base. This is, I believe, the 4-color Delver deck I was mentioning earlier. Yep, so this one's over. Good match. At least I got to win the one game there, you know, and really got to show off my strength. This is not, like I said, this is not a very good deck if you want to be competitive regularly. I mean, it does, I think it does do well sometimes in competitive tournaments, but I believe that's mainly due to luck. And there's really, I mean, sometimes some people run hot with the deck. You know, it's unexplainable. And sometimes there are different little cards that they play, little variants, you know, in the sideboard or even in the main deck that I don't play, and I'm obviously not the best player in the world, so there could have been a line there for me to win. Not game 3, but in game 1 possibly. So if you saw a line where I could have won, please don't hesitate to comment or tell me, you know, what's going on, how you feel about my playstyle. and how I could improve. That's really that's part of a reason why I started this channel. I've been playing for upwards of 20 years on and off in Magic, probably Magic Online for the past 5 years or so, and I mean there's always room for improvement. That's what I've always heard growing up. I play golf, so golf is one of the most frustrating games that literally nobody can perfect. So, and I see Magic as a very similar, not sport, but similar thing to do, similar hobby. So, thank y'all for joining me. This is another loss. I mean, I think this is going to be 3 losses in a row that I'm posting in videos, but I'm not really here to post wins and hide the fact that I lose regularly with a certain deck or not. So this will be the 3rd video, I believe, and I think I'll be finished with this deck. I'm going to move on and hopefully get some other decks in Modern and other formats, because Legacy is just not a very popular format in paper or online, unfortunately, because it's a super fun format to play. It's just very exclusive, very expensive, and you have to know a lot of interactions from way back in the day all the way to right now. So it just encompasses a lot of Magic, and it's a difficult format to play at times. So again, thank y'all for joining me. I hope y'all have a good night, and I will see you later.